Someone is knocking on my door. I am an ordinary Moscow student. On that day, I returned to the dormitory quite late. I opened the battered door, turned on the light, and saw the familiar scene I encounter every day. An old Soviet bed with protruding springs, a nightstand, most likely also from the USSR, and a huge carpet on the wall. I had long wanted to take it down, but somehow never got around to it. I really didn't want to do homework, even though there was a lot of it. Tossing my backpack on the floor, I sat down at the computer, put the kettle on the stove, and started a movie. I woke up around midnight. A street lamp outside the window illuminated almost the entire room. Reluctantly, I got up from the chair and lay down on the bed. I almost immediately fell asleep. I had a strange dream. I was lying in my bed, and something tall entered the room. It approached me and just stood there, staring at me. I woke up in cold sweat, looked around. There was no one in the room, but there was a strange feeling. It seemed like someone was watching me. That night, I couldn't sleep anymore. The next day, I was almost expelled from the university for skipping classes and rarely completing homework. I returned to the dorm through old slums. Somewhere, I could hear dogs barking, and somewhere, men were talking. The street was poorly lit, almost nothing was visible. Suddenly, I heard footsteps behind me. I turned around, but saw nothing. I walked faster, but the footsteps behind me became more frequent. I realized something was wrong and ran as fast as I could. Someone was definitely chasing me. I reached the dormitory, looked back. There stood a tall, thin person. He wore a knee-length coat, a hat, black jeans, and black boots. His face was hidden behind a clown mask. I was terrified. Screamed loudly. Lights came on in some windows on the ground floor. The strange figure quickly left the dormitory door. In an unclear direction, I ran to my room and locked the door with all the locks. I stepped away from it and sat on the bed. I was in complete shock from what I had experienced. The next day, I didn't go to the university. I spent the whole day processing everything I had seen that night. Waking up to a knock on the door, I startled. Someone was persistently banging on the door. I looked through the peephole and froze. On the other side of the door, a pale and skinny face was. I called the police, grabbed a knife from the kitchen. I pulled the curtains and sat on the bed. Time passed slowly. I mustered the courage to look through the peephole, but no one was there. I opened the door and saw a note on the floor. It said that this is not the end. After a long time, I write this because someone with immense force is knocking on my door.